On Wednesday the 5th of March, Indian Election Commissioner V.S. Sampa announced the start of the process that will culminate in a new government for the world's second most populous country in what will be the biggest election in history. 814 million Indians are eligible to vote in the Lok Sabha elections, which will return 543 representatives for a 5-year term. The final date for nominations of candidates ranges from the 20th of March to the 24th of April, depending on region. These nominations are then scrutinised by the election authorities. The ballot itself takes place in 9 stages. It is staggered so that all 930,000 polling stations can be properly covered. This is partly so that security forces can be moved around the country. Around 120,000 state security personnel are set to be deployed. It begins on the 7th of April and ends on the 12th of May, and the votes are set to be counted in a single day, the 16th of May. The scale of the election can't be underestimated. By way of comparison, the UK has around 45 million registered voters, and at the time of the 2012 US presidential elections, 147 million Americans had registered to vote. And in the upcoming elections in the European Parliament, around 400 million will be able to take part. Compare that to India's 814 million potential voters. This year we'll see over 100 million first-time voters. This election is being seen by some as the most important since independence, with the ruling Congress party tipped to lose its influence. Congress has held power for a total of 49 years since independence. As such, the hopefuls are opening their wallets to the collective sum of around $5 billion US, around 3 times the amount spent in India's last general election in 2009. Lots of people think that this year will mark a change in government after 10 years of rule by the centre-left Indian National Congress, or simply the Congress, now led by Rahul Gandhi. Allegations of corruption, feelings that its reform agenda has stalled, and a drop in economic growth could push the balance of power towards Narendra Modi's centre-right BJP. But this will also be the first national election to be challenged by the rising anti-corruption Aam Aadmi Party, which formed a minority government in Delhi last year. The group grew from the India Against Corruption movement and is led by Arvind Kejriwal. The parties tend to stand in alliances to ensure that one group gains an overall majority. On the centre-left, this is the United Progressive Alliance, which features the Congress Party and Rashtriya Lok Dal, among others. On the centre-right is the National Democratic Alliance, which includes the BJP. There's also the Left Front, composed of various communist and socialist organisations, including the Communist Party of India, the Communist Party of India Marxist, and the Revolutionary Socialist Party. Add into the mix nearly 1,500 regional parties that take part, and you get some idea of just how complex this election is. And with such a large, diverse country, there are added issues to consider. Some in the media are worried about attacks by Maoist rebels who are active in a third of Indian districts. A recent attack on a police convoy in the central state of Chhattisgarh killed 15 people. And election law rules that no one should be forced to travel more than 2 kilometres to find their nearest voting booth. This is good for democracy, but a huge logistical process for the 4 million election workers. India is 3.3 million square kilometres, 13.5 times the size of the United Kingdom, and there are huge geographical challenges for a country spanning from the Himalaya mountains to the tiny islands in the Indian Ocean. In the deserts of Rajasthan, votes will even have to be carried by camel. And all this doesn't come cheap. The whole operation will cost the equivalent of a massive $600 million US.